the Eastern Shore of Maryland is Ron and Marty Cooper, the Cooper Culture, live in person right here. Welcome.
Ed, thank you. We have a real treat today for your listeners, and that is Marty, not me. That is, Marty is not the kind of person who enjoys being in front of the camera and so forth. She'll frequently say, "Oh, my hair's out of place. I don't have my makeup on," and so forth. And the rest of us just say, "Hey, we are who we are, and nothing can be improved." So,
Yeah.
anyway, that's a
All
lot of who
right.
we are.
Okay. So I look forward to this series starting today with trust. Um, how can trust be better established or maintained in the workplaces? My research earlier today, uh, very early today, the foundation trust is the foundation of psychological safety. It says here. Why don't you go a little bit deeper, Marty?
Yeah, thank you, Ed. And uh, you're right. Trust is foundational to effective leadership and is foundational to having a psychologically safe family and workspace. And trust is something that is without it, you just cannot function very well. And trust is a matter of it does involve integrity. Let me just say, one aspect of trust, as recently as yesterday, 9:06 a.m. Eastern Time, a person told me in response to a text message, "I will call you very soon." Well, apparently, very soon has not yet occurred on his watch. So here we are, uh, 28 hours later, and that the call has not occurred. Now, I'm just going to use that as an example, Ed, that if you and I were to continue to say to each other, and I can promise you, if I were to continue to tell Marty, "I will," but I never follow through to do it, then it's a matter of credibility. The trust is not there. You're married to Joanne. My guess is she may say something similar, that if you continuously say, "I will," and you just never follow through by doing, then, and so your words become hollow. And the person legitimately could say, "Gosh, yep, I hear you, but I don't know that I can trust you." Ed, if that were to happen in the workplace, that I would tell you, "I hear you, Ed. I tell you what, I'll be back to you tomorrow at, let's just say 2 o'clock. Tomorrow, 2 o'clock comes around and I'm nowhere to be found. I didn't communicate with you and there's no follow up." You would have, in my opinion, every reason to believe, "Ron, I don't know that I can trust you. I have heard enough," and I use the term data points. Yeah, I do understand that things can come up that, "Ed, I just couldn't yesterday or tomorrow at 2 o'clock," and so forth. But I owe you a response to tell you, "Ed, I thought I would be able to meet at 2 o'clock, but I can't. I respect you enough that I want to let you know that I'm not going to be able to follow through to do that." I do clearly understand different events happen and so forth, but if I continuously, and I use the term data points, do not follow through with what I say I will do, that becomes a matter of trust. That you would have reason to believe you are uncertain if you can trust what I say. You would have, I believe, reason to say my words are hollow. That, yep, I heard what you say. Now, I'll say very briefly, some people frequently use the term, "well, he or she was busy." I'm going to translate that, Ed, to say that many people would translate that to mean, "I just did not rank a high enough priority for you to even think of me. I was, who knows, 49th priority on your list, and you didn't, I just didn't have enough priority. I didn't have enough importance in your life for you to even think of me." Now, those are just a few examples of what I consider to be trust. But now I'm going to transition only a little bit, that personalities. It's developing trust with a person is a lot to do with personality. I'll tell you, Ed, that I'm the kind of person that on a 10-point scale, I want to grant you a 10 right away. I would say, "I want to trust you." And so, Ed, I can almost assign you a 10 right away on the trust scale, whether I can trust you, and you're going to have to work your way down. If you're working with Marty, how does it work for you, Marty?
It takes me a little while because I am on the scale an S, and we are a little more reserved, a little more quiet, and relationships really matter to us, and how you respond to me. Say you're my boss, and I'm working for you, and the boss is just like us, a D, and I'm an S.
Now, let me interject right here. What we're talking about is DISC personality styles. D is dominant and outspoken, extroverted. S is known as supportive and reserved or introverted. So that's the terms we're using right now.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry I didn't explain that to you. So an S likes to be loyal. I mean, they like to know that they are doing the job, and everyone and the boss appreciates everything they're doing. They're very organized, and so they like to know that the boss knows that I can go to that person, and they're organized enough. They'll have the information for me immediately. And an S can look at a person. Say you're meeting a person for the first time, and an S can, through body language, eye contact, and through how much they want to talk to you, if they're really interested in you. And that bothers an S because we like relationships. And now in a husband and wife working together, there can be some challenges, but at the same time, you have to work together to. And we both know the personality, and you have to work knowing that if I'm doing something for him, I want to know, hey, good job. It's just that, and that's not an insecurity. That's just how we are.
And Ed, I'll insert here very quickly that Marty is the kind of person, she will need to see consistency. She might need to talk with you 10 different occasions and have 10 consistent data points, I call it, until she feels, yep, I can trust you. That's the difference between Marty and me.
Thank you.
So now, Marty, when you are working with a person, let's just say it is Ed interviewing me and you, interviewing, talking with, moderating, as we're doing right now. What are some things you look for to see if, even though you're reserved, you probably speak fewer words than me. What are some things you are looking for to see if Ed, in this case, it just happens to be the setup we have right now, but what are some things you look for to try to determine, can I trust you in this conversation? Is it a matter of, Ed, look at me, talk to me, mention my name periodically, or what are some things you look for?
Well, if the person is talking to both of us, they're talking to Ron and looking at me, or talking to me and looking at Ron, you're including both of us. I do like that. And even asking questions to me. So it's mainly body language. Or they could be just talking to Ron, but looking back and forth. I feel like if you're looking at me, then I'm included in the conversation.
I think another way of saying that, Ed, is Marty wants to feel valued, even if I'm doing most of the talking. But to the person that is, you're on the opposite side of the table from us, I think Marty, correct me if I'm wrong, you would want the person on the opposite side of the table to look at you. I mean, eyes go back and forth between Marty and me,
Yeah.
even though maybe I'm talking more than you. But as the person across the table looks at you, you can develop the confidence that, okay, you're speaking to me, or just by virtue of you mentioned body language.
Yeah.
I don't want to try to interpret what you're saying, but am I correct with that?
Yeah, that's right. And that's what I was trying to explain, that, look at both of us, include both of us.
But Ed, the factor of trust, it has to be with leadership. If a person feels they cannot trust you, and it is a matter of being good for your word, that if we say we will do something, and I clearly understand, I'm not trying to find fault with anybody. That's not my point at all. I will tell you, Ed, that my goal, and I fall short of it, my goal, as one example, is to respond to any form of communication you send me not later than midnight of the day you send it to me, with at least an interim response. And so I don't always meet that goal, but that is my goal. And so I do know that in the context of communication, it's very common that somebody will leave a voice message, a text, an email, or something, no response for some period of time. Gosh, did they get it? And there's a possibility the person did not get it. But with email, I like to always tell the email transmitter, I want confirmation that the email was delivered to a valid email address. And second thing is, send me a receipt, a read receipt, that someone at that email address read the email message. Not necessarily you, but somebody did. With that, I know that at least I connected with communication. I have reason to believe that I should get a response from that. And so if a person continues to ignore me, and let's assume that this is not spam, we know each other, and maybe I ask a question, but that person does not respond in what would seem to be a reasonable time frame, particularly if they say I will and they don't, that to me becomes a matter of trust. Ed, I'm doing a lot of talking. You may have some thoughts, and almost certainly do.
So I'm listening deep and watching, and so much to talk about here. The trust is built on learning from failure, recovering, and going
Right.
forward, and being able to do that. Doesn't matter what. It just, you get that feeling. And Marty, I think that's what you're getting at. It has to be communicated, the little things, and quick. So you could go on in the conversation.
Right.
Rather than just dead sound, quiet. Probably a better way of saying that. Sorry.
Well, Ed, you mentioned failings, and yes, I would hope that just because a person failed at something, that doesn't mean you can never recover. I would hope that I would at least have an opportunity to recover from that. And Marty, I feel very certain, would discern that, okay, yep, things didn't happen, and particularly in the context of betrayal of whatever matter. But can I recover from that? And Ed, you and I have talked about it before. It takes a long time to develop trust. It'll take a whole lot longer to reestablish trust,
if at all.
if at all. And so I would hope I would have an opportunity, if I have broken trust, to have the opportunity to reestablish trust. But not everybody's going to give me that opportunity. That if I break trust and I betray somebody, they may write me off. I'll never have that opportunity. Marty, I think you've mentioned at times, it's not necessarily in the context of betrayal, but for you, your personality style, if you don't respond to me, not not me necessarily, but somebody, you, am I right? You'll just write them off. You're not going to chase them.
Oh, not, let's not say right away, but if after a certain amount of time, say someone hasn't responded back to me, then I will say I don't think we can, we can deal with each other again because you're not responding to me. You don't respect me enough to respond to me, so I don't need to go through that on a continuous basis. Just like right now, Ron and I have a podcast, and some will write in, okay, this is the second time I've reached out to you to see if you will have this person on the podcast. And I have not seen the email. So that kind of bothers me that, and then they will say, and this is the last time. And I have to go back and say, well, I didn't get it. So, how am I to respond to that? I kind of get a little upset and think, okay, I'll deal with it one more time. And then,
but that, what you're describing, let me ask, doesn't that
sure.
sound like it's bullying rather than honesty?
Right, I do. And the one person said that, and she's mentioned two other podcasts. We didn't even have them on that podcast. We
Yeah,
didn't. Yeah. So I'm just saying sometimes I can get a little saying, okay, all right, be that way. I just won't respond to you anymore, which is not right. At least give them a chance, I guess. So I do, but if it continues like that, then I go, okay, forget it.
And
but that sounds like it's a lie. I mean, that sounds like that person is lying right to you and trying to bully you down to accept whatever they're giving you. It's BS.
And Ed, yes to everything you're saying. I'm the kind of person, I think you know me to be this way, that as long as we have a dialogue, I feel like we can reach some sort of understanding. And so let's cease the email. No more of that. I want to have a real-time dialogue with you. I would like to see your facial expression. I want to hear the tone of your voice, and I want to see what kind of a person you are. And from that, we will discern just the way things are. And so maybe we can get along, maybe we can't. And so, but yes, Ed, particularly if somebody is trying to bully Marty, I definitely want to and be involved in that conversation. That I will say, you're not going to bully my wife, and we'll terminate the relationship if we have to.
It deserves to be terminated because it's not authentic. I mean, it's based on a lie that somebody's putting out there they probably have something in mind that they want to pull off on you. Pull off meaning get you to do something that you might not do anyway. But all of that is just noise. It's just BS. It's not authentic. Now, you know what it is? It's authenticity of sending danger signals. And so your radar has to be up to say, hey, wait a minute, this is not real here. Goodbye, and don't ever call again, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
No, it's exactly right, Ed. And through all of that, what we are trying to do is determine if this person is trustworthy, honest, and so forth. That Marty and I believe in the context of trust, respect, and so forth, we have to show it. We have to demonstrate it. And we will. But if you take advantage of me through trust, respect, and so forth, I'm going to be very discerning of that. And I don't want anyone to take advantage of me. And so I would hope that everyone can say Ron and Marty are each good for their word. If they say it, they will absolutely do it. And so if I fail to meet the time frame, I will acknowledge that to you, Ed, that, hey, I apologize. I missed the time frame, but I respect you enough that I owe you a response. And so that's a lot of where we are. That, to me, a lot of this discussion, everything about this discussion is around the topic as foundational to trust. Can we trust each other to be a good leader within a company, to be a good parent, father, whatever role you have in the family? your family members have to be able to trust you. It's just there is no alternative to that from our value set.
So, Marty, that person that you just described,
Mhm.
that is a classic in my view. It's a, and I'm asking your opinion. In my view, that is toxic behavior and
Yes.
harassment and setting you up for a zinger, coming your
I'll tell you,
way.
yeah, I'll just tell you the end of the story is, okay, I reached back out to her and I said, okay, um, we will have that guest that you are sponsoring on our podcast. Well, she never answered me. She never scheduled. So at least I reached back out and said, okay, we'll do this. But I now know maybe you're right, Ed. It was just, hey, I want to see what I can do. I can be nasty or whatever.
Well, because they're setting you up for
Mhm.
something that is going to come at you.
Correct.
They're probably money oriented.
Mm-hmm. You're right. I don't know. Well, I haven't heard from her since. So,
Well, that's good. Block
yeah,
the
It,
call.
yeah.
but it's something about the culture, Ed, and in this context, we're talking trust. But uh, trust again is foundational to good leadership, a good solid culture of having a cohesive team, relationships, being able to share with each other in a psychologically safe space. And if we can't trust each other, I mean, why would I divulge anything to you, not knowing if you're going to use that against me as gossip or something of that nature? That can't happen.
To what extent, when you're basically interviewing somebody about whether or not you want to have a next step, um, trust across generations, trust across background differentials, these are critical. I mean, sort of like a red line kind of thing. When you're dealing with people from different culture, different background, a different place in life, you really got to be alert of tricks that some people play all the time. And if you don't like it, I mean, it's instinctive that something's wrong here. Just black up, forget it. That's what I do.
Ed, I interview for values, and I will tell you that I can teach virtually anybody skills that they need, but you come in with a set of values, and I want to know what those values are. So when I'm interviewing people, I will always ask them scenario type questions. In other words, what would you do if you saw somebody, let's say, who needed something along the side of the street? How would you work that? That's a scenario. I want to know how you would work that. It to a degree, it has nothing to do with let's just say, Ed, I'm looking for a person with logistics experience. I mean that scenario has nothing to do with logistics, but it has everything to do with your values. Just curious, Ed, if you were passing somebody on the street and they needed something, let's just say someone fell down, and what would you do? And I'm not asking for your answer to that, but I do pose different scenarios that I want to learn how that person would respond to different scenarios. And then if the person gives me a good response, I would want to talk with two or three other people who know this person. And I would want to find out from them, I would learn from them what their character is. And so, again, I can train virtually anybody who's trainable, coachable skill set, but they bring values into the company. And so I'm very it's unlikely I'm going to change their values. So I need to know that need to have a high degree of assurance you have the right values coming into my company. So I interview based on scenario dependency, and will make a determination. And I do want Marty's opinion because her personality is different from mine. But I'm going to ask several people what their thought is about a hire, because I may think, yep, that person's right on, but then other people, you, Ed, Marty, and Mark, would have a different perspective. And you may say, Mom, I'll tell you what, my discernment is, I didn't feel good about. So I need to rely on each one of you and your discerning impression of if this person is the right hire.
So scenario, I, I don't know if I'm getting it right, but scenario planning, you're looking for tells, indications of behavior.
Yes.
Right. What I will do sometimes, say it's someone that contacts us through email or something, and they have a website. I'll go to the website and I'll read about them. And if there's something in the website that I just go, they don't have the same values. It may be just, something they've said in the website or whatever they do and stuff. So, and then I can talk to Ron about it and say, well, what do you think? Do you think we should maybe trust this person? But if I don't feel it, then I am more, we need to move on. I don't believe this person is who we need. And sometimes the S personality, we have a discernment. And sometimes I think maybe I have too much of it, or I'm leaning more on my own thoughts and maybe not giving that person a chance. But
I'll interject here, Ed, and say that for us, it's very appropriate to look at social media. And I would never I would never abridge privacy. But whatever is in the public domain, I am trying to assess behavioral health. And so I can discern behavioral health by looking at what a person posts on Facebook, Instagram, X, Twitter, so forth, and just see what the kind of the comments are. And but that is for me very clearly an indicator of behavioral health. And so I do want a person that is going to be can be, and I would hope that through culture and my leadership, they would say, I am all in. I'm all in. And one way to help determine how effective everything we're saying is, I would recommend for a company who is uncertain about their culture, I would say, if, with your permission, one thing I would do is ask your employees to anonymously maybe ask them several questions on a 10-point scale. A question similar to, if you had a relative, would you recommend they come work for this company? And if I were to give you $2,000, would you quit this company? Ask some questions like that, Ed. And but I can pretty well determine the health of a company by asking those kind of questions. And of course, I would never do that without the approval of the senior people I'm working with.
So, Marty, do you deal mostly with women or do you deal with men? Or both?
we both.
Yeah.
So I mean, right, both. I don't particularly say I only want to deal with women. I only don't well, definitely don't want to deal only with men, but I deal with both.
And Ed, I'll add in that context, we are very guarded about the surrounding environment. It would not be right for me to be alone in a room with a woman. And I think Marty might agree it would not be, it would,
I don't feel comfortable.
The optics would not be right for her to be alone in the room with another man. And so I will do everything I can. If I'm interviewing or coaching a woman, that we would have to have a very strict coaching agreement that I would not demand that she agree that Marty is with me, but I would just make sure that she would know that I cannot, based on my values, I cannot be alone in a room with her. It's that exceeds my values. That's just one of the things, Ed, that I want everyone within my sphere of influence to know they can trust me. And I know what I just said, many people are going to disagree with it. Holy smokes, Ron Cooper, you're way off the edge with stuff you just said. But Ed, that's a part of my value set.
Well, I think it's common sense uh, to be self-protective and to protect others, and just avoid any issue
Well,
that might be opinionated by someone else. It's different than you intended.
yeah, let's agree amongst the three of us. It does fall within common sense. But if somebody were to see me in a room with a woman, the door is closed. Any amount of gossip can occur, and I would say, oh, my goodness, everything to discuss was professional, but yet the gossip goes out that, well, we saw you, and now you've got this kind of stuff to contend with, and so I want to head that off from the very beginning.
So I'm going to be a bit of a wise guy here, okay, with what I'm about to say. But what about in a digital first environment? In other words, a one-on-one interview, and I'm a man and she's a woman. We're in the same room, but of course it's in space.
Yep. And
that's totally different. But maybe
well.
Not.
Let me just say how I work this, Ed. I always, Marty, tell me if I'm in error. I always include Marty as a CC addressee on my email. Never fail.
And do you do a one-on-one? Do you have rules about one-on-ones on a Zoom?
In a room.
It's.
I think what we've done is keep the door open. If it's in an office, the door is open.
But now, we're talking about internet, so you're not
the digital.
Oh, the digital.
And so now,
like this.
Yeah.
Okay, Ed, I'm going to be very upfront with Marty that if I'm conversing with a female and let's say one email, the first or so email goes out, I include Marty. If she were to say, Ron, don't include your wife in these conversations, I would want to know why. But then if it is a matter of, no, this is confidential between the two of us, I would ask Marty. Mm-hmm. Marty, just let me know how you feel about this. I think in this case, Ed, I would want Marty to talk with the lady one-on-one. And Marty would clearly discern how she is. If Marty thinks she may have an ulterior motive, and at the beginning of this conversation, we were talking about ulterior motives. If Marty might discern she has an ulterior motive, I would say, no, I just, let's do not continue with this.
Clear. So, and I've started this quote unquote TV show in March of 2020 when COVID crashed into my live conference business of 30 years. And I said, oh, now what? So I use this, I call it the global meeting room, quote, unquote, which means it's a place that brings together people in business, some kind of business relationship, rather than social. Although social may evolve out of that. It's business first. And a safe place, a psychologically safe place. And I worked that and have ever since March 2020. More than 1,000 productions I've produced. And they're all freely available on my YouTube station, 100% free. There's never been any issue of improprietary stuff from anyone on the show. I don't remember any instance across all that time and space, and which is a good thing. And I think, like you, as I get more, I don't know, popular out there, certainly more exposure out there on the internet from all the TV shows and radio shows I produce. There's a lot of people out there who are watching what I've done, and they send me an email or a LinkedIn intro out of the blue. And oftentimes it's from a woman, not 100%, but oftentimes. And they, with a pitch line of some kind, some are really easy to discern that they're looking for trouble, and I'm not buying, and some are very, very nicely done, but there's something. Why is this lady doing this to me? And so I check back on LinkedIn. I investigate immediately. And I got to tell you, 9 out of 10 times when I do that, it turns out to be a fake because there's nothing on that person's LinkedIn page.
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't posted anything, hasn't done anything, doesn't divulge anything. And it's just a come on. Well, I know. And I'm 80 years old. So, I mean, I've been around a while, so I know. But so my antenna is up 100% of the time. And so that's where I'm coming from.
And I will tell you, Ed, I'm a big, big believer, and I think you just espoused it. Trust your instincts.
Oh,
Always.
trust, but Reagan, trust but verify.
Oh yeah, trust but verify.
That's
but
it.
In the case of, hey, I just read an email message. I don't know, something, the vibes, we use that term. Just doesn't feel right. Trust your instincts. I need to check this out further. And earlier, well, it started yesterday. I saw an email message that just a couple of things didn't look right. And I have been involved in one case of I was targeted as an imposter, but this person had their last name spelled two different ways, and they were using a Gmail address when they, in their signature block, said they're an employee of a company. And I questioned this person. Why did you spell your last name two different ways? Why are you using a Gmail address rather than your company address? He explained it, and this may have been an honest error on his part, but I have been caught up 6-8 months ago in a scheme where I was one or more people were impersonating 3 HR personnel in a very large company. And my instinct was, I better check this out before I go any further. But that's just a little bit of a story, Ed, that I'm a believer. Trust your instincts, check it out, and verify. Yep, you want to trust, but verify before you go too far.
Well, I think this has really been an interesting conversation. So thank you. That I don't know who's going to listen to the whole thing or watch it, but they'll certainly be interested, and then they'll have a look. So is there something you each want to say to the audience out there that could summarize and get ready for the next chapter? Describe what that will be.
No, thank you, Ed. Trust and respect. We mentioned that in the beginning, but you must have trust. That to be a good leader, you must be trustworthy. And if you're not trustworthy, you're not going to be a respected leader. What follows from the trust is respect. We must trust and respect. Good leaders must exude, practice trust and respect. Trust you, respect others. We must give it before we can expect it in return. And so the two work hand in hand. They're integrally related, correlated with each other. When you have those two in place in your family, those within your circle of influence, family or employees, when they feel I can always trust and I respect those in charge of me, they're going to be confident to be able to say, I just feel very confident in the family, in the workplace where I am, because the trust and respect is exuded right here. And when you feel trusted and respected, you will want to perform for the team, the company, the family, whatever it may be. But next time, Ed, a week from today, we'll talk about respect, giving respect, just what that is. And Marty and I work with companies who might say, as a result of this session today, I'm not sure we have that aspect of trust and respect totally founded in our company. I would say, let's talk about it and contact us. You can look at our website, thecooperculture.com. Contact me, Ron, at thecooperculture.com, or Marty, Marty, at thecooperculture.com. We would like to have the opportunity to work with you to help you assess just where you are with your company. We can pretty well determine exactly where you are, and then you tell us where you want to be, and we will help you get from where you are to where you want to be. And it is a matter of a teaming arrangement. We are a believer that training is a continuous process. It's never a one and done. Ed, we look forward to working with those of you who are in your vast listening audience and developing the trust and respect, which is foundational to having a very behavioral, healthy work culture.
Thank you, Marty, for being involved here. It's great to
Yeah.
have you on the program. I didn't know what S was.
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess I just think everybody knows the D, I, S, and C. So I'm sorry I didn't explain that. But I want to say, Ed, I think, and I'll be real quick, leaders should try and get to know the personality of the people that are working for them, female or male, because that is so important. Their strong points, their weak points, how they want to be talked to. And I just think that helps with the culture of the company.
Absolutely. I totally agree and understand what you're doing. In other shows that I have produced with Ron, but also with others, the question is, are companies or should companies become a university especially with the use of AI to not replace people, but to augment or to use people differently because information is coming in fast and furious using AI. I use the Gemini and I find it really fascinating. And it's enabled me to not spend so much time on details in searching for information because it's coming at me really fast. Just ask the question and click, and then seconds later, all this stuff comes. And, I know that you have to read it. I read it, and some of it doesn't make any sense, but most of it is helpful. And that enables me to go the next step. Like, for instance, earlier this morning, I asked Gemini about our topic today here. And they sent me all this stuff. And so some of the items that I asked you came right from that. Not that I'm a genius. How can I ever think of all that stuff, But I knew how to phrase and put that into a question that would fit in with what you were espousing here. And I think that your approach today on the show is very senior level and very intelligent and not at all superficial. It's totally downright deep. And I think it's really valuable stuff. And I'll get it out there to my network. Ron and Marty, I want to ask you to send me a follow-up quick email. Doesn't have to be today, with some guidance about how I can phrase in my language to the LinkedIn, it's all LinkedIn, business to business communication, how I could summarize quickly in a sentence or two what the recipient of my email and with the link to the show, and encouraging them to look at it from a learning point of view at the senior level about what is the meaningfulness, what does it mean to be trusting people who you don't know anything about, meaning employees. And when you said, Ron, just a few minutes ago, you have a right to know about who people are. They're in your employer.
Ed, thank you for that opportunity. And Marty is a master at this, putting a narrative together. We will have this to you tomorrow morning.
So it'd be like Marty's the Gemini, right?
Yes, Marty is my Gemini. But no, thank you for this. This is the perfect opportunity, Ed. We will suggest a narrative to you, exactly what the takeaways or the application.
Why it's important from you at senior levels.
Right.
And you're trying to get into somebody else's brain who can give you some business if there's a communication link. And so use it that way. Yep. And I'll just be the salesman.
All right. No, that's great. And Ed, we will have that to you tomorrow morning. And thank you for this opportunity.
Oh, good. Well, I'm thinking about how can we get this to be really effective? Because, you know, in this group, this major group of my number one source of top level, it's called Top Level C-Suite, and it's free access. They don't even block it. They want everything to come in, which is really unusual on LinkedIn. Usually there's a guard and they don't let it in. They have to approve it. And then I never know what goes through. But in this group, it's C-level, big companies, usually 100%, 1,000 or more employees. But, and LinkedIn recently did a survey, I'll be real quick here. More than 60%, like 61, 62% of the survey of the past 30 to 60 days from my posts that I put out on LinkedIn, LinkedIn said more than 60% of the readers, the viewers of what I sent were in senior level positions in companies having more than 10,000 employees.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now that means they're mostly US, not totally, but like Siemens, a big German multinational, that's in that group. And then we have smaller companies of less than 10,000, say 1,000. And then our audience, according to LinkedIn, approaches 70%. And so those people are receiving what I send, but not all of them open it. But having a sentence or two in advance, and then with a connection to this show, that will bump it up.
Yep.
I don't know how big, but it will bump it up because of curiosity.
Yep. And so what we want to do is inspire curiosity well, based on what I just read, I want to know more about that, and they'll get into it. You bet.
Yeah. All right. Thank you all.
All right. Thanks, Ed. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
I'm doing a show at my 4:30. I'm broadcasting into Tokyo.
Oh, all right.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's tomorrow morning there. You know?
Yep.
You're right.
Yeah,
All right. Thanks, Ed.
Ciao.
Yeah.
Thank you.